Here, let me try to have the least awkward intro to a podcast ever.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi guys.
Oh, going that route.
Yeah. Hey everybody, it's Julius for Bumbling Cinema once again to talk about another film, and I am excited to talk about this one because we were going to talk with my guest. We were going to talk about another film that had a significance for this year, but this week. A very special movie for both of us showed in the theaters again as part of a trend because a certain movie studio has to, get some of their street cred back after Madam Web. But the person I'm with is Daniel.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Daniel.
What's up, Julius?
The last podcast I had with you was the Oscars podcast.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which I love listening to.
It's fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
We tear into
Everything.
just everything, pretty much. The Oscars, the awards, some of the movies, Yoko Ono, and everything. It was great. It was a great discussion.
It's true.
But now I have you on an actual real deal.
Let's do review
movie discussion.
Yeah. Cool.
But before anything. We were talking a little bit about branding and everything. We were talking about, what you're trying to do with YouTube and stuff.
Oh, right.
Because we've had an extensive history, on YouTube together and everything. So what's going on with you?
Well, I had a channel and I was thinking that the name for it was too restricting. So I'm trying to think of a name that kind of like doesn't box me in, I guess, so much. Yeah. And so I want to just be able to talk about more of my interests. And then I feel like I could do what every big YouTuber does is like when it makes sense to separate the channels. Yeah. Like, let's say they get enough views on different types of interests and it just doesn't make sense to keep it all on one channel, then that's when I would probably separate. But I think starting off, I would just do a YouTube name or brand or whatever title that kind of encompasses everything, doesn't box me into just movies or just combat sports or things like that, like just music or just food or anything like that. I kind of want to just do my own thing, to be able to do whatever. And with YouTube you just have to hit record and start somewhere, right?
Something, right?
Start something somewhere.
It's a lot of luck that goes
is.
into the excerpt I did for the Michael Keaton.
Oh, that went viral. That went kind of it did good. Not viral, but like it had a couple thousand. Yeah,
there's a little chunk in there.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
Didn't make any money on it,
right,
but
right,
it was good.
It's good. Yeah,
It was fun to see people's
reactions and
comments.
The comments were good too. Yeah.
I think there was one comment that got hidden after a while where it was just like. It was about Michael Keaton, and how we want him to come back in some shape or form.
Oh, yeah.
And
of course.
It said, WB are a bunch of losers for not making Batman Beyond.
Yeah. I think I saw that one.
Which isn't...
But it's not far off.
It's not far off.
They should have made it, you know what I mean?
It's not a controversial statement.
Exactly,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
With Michael Keaton.
No, yeah, people were on board. I mean, Keaton, it's hard to go wrong when you're talking about Keaton, you know what I mean? He's just a phenomenal actor. Awesome as Batman, so,
I saw the most bizarre film with him in it. I think it's called Clear History, and it's with Larry David.
Oh,
it was
wow.
During that period where he wasn't doing Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
So it has, him, Larry David. It has John Hamm in it.
Oh, okay.
It has Bill Hader. And Michael Keaton shows up as like this guy who likes to blow stuff up. Like one of these hillbilly kinds and everything.
Yeah, that's funny.
And it's like pretty much everyone who wasn't on Curb Your Enthusiasm is on that show.
I see.
And they pretty much almost everyone in that movie ended up on Curb in the later seasons.
Okay, cool. Keaton's he just came out with that new movie where he's like a hitman with amnesia or something like that.
Yeah. He's like he keeps on forgetting.
Yeah, he's like getting older or something.
Yeah, he has dementia.
That's right.
Yeah. It's kind of like a mix of like Memento, right?
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Yeah. Man,
we'll see.
Keaton is one of these actors who's really. I mean, is he underrated? I think his talent is very understated.
You know what? It's funny because you say I could hear either you're like about to ask or want to ask, is he underrated, right?
Because he's everywhere, but
he's everywhere,
he's also not praised for the actual craft he uses.
I think he's respected.
Yeah,
but underrated. I mean, like maybe celebrated among like a certain group of people, but I do feel like he should be up there with
Yeah.
like the greats. People
Yeah.
should be talking about him like the greats. I
Yeah.
mean, his range is insane. It's kind of insane. You
It
know what I mean?
really is.
And a lot of those like old school actors like that kind of still embody the craft itself. But that's what I mean. Like how you're saying.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I guess like I don't know if like a Nicholson, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something like
Like
they have that
Keaton
same
is
kind
that
of range.
good.
Yeah, he's that
Yeah.
good, and
Yeah.
we've seen it in like Birdman and other movies. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he pulled off Batman after Mr. Mom. Like, come on. bro.
Well, and also
You know?
after Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's right.
You know?
That's right.
And
Yeah,
I
and he's
think-
coming back, right?
And
So-
he's came back
yeah.
to Batman, he's coming
Yeah.
back to Beetlejuice and
Yeah, that's
everything.
right. Why
And
not?
I'm
Why
one of
not?
those guys who thinks that Beetlejuice is I don't know if it's as iconic as him as Batman.
No.
But I think that's the better performance of the two. Beetlejuice. and honestly, I'm gonna tell you the exact moment
Yeah.
that I think encapsulates this.
Yeah.
When he's introduced, right?
Yeah.
And he's like going crazy and everything. You want to know my qualifications?
Yeah, right,
And then what happens is he just breaks for a second. He's
Yeah.
like Baldwin asks,
Yeah.
"What are your qualifications or whatever?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I went to Harvard Business School, and then and then he just slowly ramps up. Brilliant.
Brilliant. It is brilliant, and normally I would not hesitate and tell you you're wrong and Batman's a better performance because I'm biased, obviously. But
Yeah.
But I watch Beetlejuice with my daughters, and they absolutely love Beetlejuice. They
Yeah.
love Beetlejuice. They think he's
character?
a good guy. Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
character. They just love him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anytime he's on screen, he just like grabs their attention. They can't get away from the screen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They love it. They're like cheering, you know, and it's hilarious. They're super excited for the
new one?
sequel. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
So
I'm looking forward to
I'm
it.
I'm looking
You know,
forward to
I'm
it
hoping
too.
it's really good.
Yeah,
and everything.
the teaser we got wasn't bad, so
No, yeah.
so it looked decent. I'm
he looks
excited.
great in it.
Yeah, he looks great.
You know?
Bring him back as Bruce Wayne, old Bruce Wayne. Come on. You know what I
This
mean?
is going to be part 2 of that discussion.
It
Because,
is, right?
Because
it just becomes that.
It becomes more bewildering ever since that
Yeah.
video came out. Of like,
Right.
how is this not even
Yeah,
like Michael Keaton?
Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Keaton as in Batman
It
Beyond.
just fits. It
It's-
just fits.
It's like we need that closure.
Yeah,
really.
we do.
Because what we were talking about before was how we didn't really, at least I didn't feel it with Keaton's Batman.
Right.
In the Flash, when
Right.
they brought him back, I thought he was the best part.
He was the
but
best part by far.
It wasn't like an ending. For
No,
that character,
it was not. It
you
was
know?
not. You still wanted more. You thought they were gonna do more.
Yeah.
Like you thought that's what they were leading
Yeah.
up to, and then they just do George Clooney at the
Yeah.
end, and it's kind of like, what the heck, dude? I mean, Keaton's performance, even as Vulture, I thought in Homecoming, my favorite part of
And
Homecoming
Morbius.
was and Morbius.
My favorite part of Morbius.
Hey, actually, that's a fact. My favorite part of Morbius and Homecoming was Keaton. That's like that's a fact.
I mean, that's a sad fact.
But it's a fact, bro.
It's
100%.
a true fact, though.
Yeah, it's factual right there. 100%.
Hope the grub is
bro.
better in here.
Yeah, 100% my favorite part. The only time I pointed at the screen and said, "Oh,
Hey, this is a movie.
Yeah, this is. Oh, hey, that's
Whoa,
right.
hey.
Hey, yeah.
That makes sense. But
And then the credits roll.
yeah, exactly. It's like, oh shit. I guess
Yeah.
this is over.
But in Homecoming too, I had been.
He's awesome in it.
He's amazing in
Yeah.
it. I think he makes the whole movie. I think if you don't have a villain like that, or you don't have Keaton's portrayal of Vulture, I think what ends up happening is you kind of have a boring movie.
Well, you have a very kiddie film.
Yeah, very
you know?
kid,
Kid-
kind of boring
teeny.
film. Yeah,
Yeah.
and not much of depth going on. I mean, it was they try to introduce the character, so I wouldn't say it's
Yeah.
no depth. That's not the right way to describe it.
Well,
but
it's certainly like they're trying to make it lighthearted, but
Yeah.
Keaton's Vulture does remind you that these
Yeah.
are very real stakes.
yeah, very real.
you know?
Exactly,
And
100%.
He literally
100%.
says, "I'm gonna kill you
Yeah.
if you mess with me."
Yeah,
Like, he
yeah.
just threatens the kid.
Yeah,
like, and he has a gun in his hand, and nothing super villain. It's a
No.
gangster moment.
Yeah,
at
it's a
that
gangster
point,
moment,
you know?
and that's what I'm saying. And then if you think about it, a lot of the heavy scenes
Yeah.
are just him talking in the car with Tom Holland. You
yeah.
know, him talking in the kitchen in the
Oh,
living
yeah.
room
Yeah,
before he comes
the
in.
Best,
That's
one of the
crazy,
best twists in the
dude.
MCU.
Yeah, one of the
Or
best.
one of the best. Like
And-
my whole theater was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah, it was crazy. It was cool. I thought it was dope. We all suspected and felt it coming, but like the way they just timed it and
Yeah.
crafted it
Beautiful.
and built up to those moments. and then Keaton executing
Yeah.
when those moments were built up to, and it was time for him. It was go time, and dude, he really pulled it off. You know what I mean? So,
oh my God.
yeah, I think save that movie for me, especially because I was anticipating it. Because I was so excited for Homecoming. Because I was so excited for a new Superman. I thought they finally got a Spider-Man that is like, okay, you look like and act like you like a teenager, like you're like the Spider-Man, like we can do this, you know. And then we got like not an action heavy movie. I wanted to see Spider-Man doing more Spider-Man-y stuff. And in Homecoming, yeah.
I see.
And so that's why I kind of like Far From Home, because it gives you more of that, but then it gets a little more silly in Far From Home, whereas Homecoming is a little more grounded because of Keaton and because of the introduction to the character. You know what I mean?
Well,
so,
no, absolutely. I think they really get in terms of the character of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They really focus heavily on the Peter Parker high school stuff, which I love. You know?
Agree. Yeah.
And it felt a lot like the Ultimate Spider-Man book to me.
It did.
You know, like
it did carry that way.
Just seeing him walk through the neighborhood.
Sure.
There's a shot of him walking like on a train platform and going on the subway and everything. And it for me, it was just like they captured that so well. Yeah. Made him really endearing.
Of course.
And it's funny that we're talking about Tom Holland and everything because obviously one of the biggest criticisms of his portrayal is that he's not Tobey Maguire.
Right.
And
right.
But I don't know.
But who is?
But who is? Tobey isn't even Tobey anymore.
Who is?
Well, I mean, since we're kind of talking about Tobey and Spider-Man and everything.
Yeah.
Did you hear this crazy rumor? I'm saying it's a rumor. A lot of people are saying it's a report.
Okay.
That for the upcoming Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland.
Yeah, I heard there's trouble with it.
Well, I've heard there's some trouble and everything, but I've heard something that I would be really excited about. And it ties perfectly into our topic.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is that Marvel Studios is talking to Sam Raimi to direct Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4.
Wow.
I know, yeah. That's just wow.
Yeah.
That idea.
Yeah.
This isn't really a news channel or anything, but this is. I have to talk about this.
Yeah, of course, especially because we're talking about Tobey's movie. So
it sounds like a lot of people's dream come true. Yeah. If this were to be the case, you know,
it's literally what I was saying. Like we got the Tom that I thought fit. Yeah. You know, like the essence of like a teenage Peter Parker. Yeah. And then you mix it with probably the best Spider-Man director, Sam Raimi. You know, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man that we're gonna talk about. So. Insanely amazing.
What does that look like to you? Like a Marvel Studios, MCU Spider-Man film that's directed by Sam Raimi.
So, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about the original Spider-Man and everything, and it's all beloved in our hearts, you know, not only because the movie stands alone as fantastic, but because what it did for movies, you know. Blade did its thing, Spider-Man did its thing, and then because of those movies, it birthed basically what we have as we saw that the MCU was possible, or at least the attempt was possible, right? Like, so hey, let's build this. Maybe we have something here if we build a universe, but that's because of Tobey and Blade and those movies that came before. So for me, I don't have very many complaints for Spider-Man 1. I remember I was already in high school. I was probably a junior at the time, and when it came out, and I did want the one complaint, and it's not even, I don't know if I want to label it a complaint, but I was like, man, they did go like over the like very cartoony with a lot of the performances, you know, and they're fantastic performances. I'm not saying that I don't like it. You know, now I watch it, like I said, it's like has a place in my heart, you know. But at the time when it came out, I like wanted like maybe not a hardcore Spider-Man, like people dying all over the place.
Spider-Man
but, like,
Lotus.
Yeah, but also like less, like more of a movie, not of a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because we had the Saturday morning cartoons. When it went to live action, I wanted to have a live action, like this is live action. But at the same time, like, that's just me asking for too much. I have to be honest with the technology that we had at the time.
Yeah.
And I think they did the best that they could, and what came out was the best that they could. A
Yeah.
really good movie. And so that's the only thing. And so now, if we're talking about Raimi and Tom Holland with the budget of a MCU behind it, I think this is exactly what I kind of wanted then.
Yeah.
I think we can get a more like realistic Spider-Man with Sam Raimi at the helm. Just make sure to let Sam Raimi do his thing this time.
Yeah.
Don't tie his hands behind his back like you did with Multiverse with Madness.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll have another fantastic movie, I think.
Okay, well, I actually, I'm not one of, I enjoyed Multiverse of Madness.
No, I didn't hate it.
No, I know that. I think
the
that
parts
he's just,
that,
no, go for it.
Yeah,
go for
well,
it.
I was just gonna say that the parts that I don't not that I don't like, but the parts that seem lesser than the rest of the movie were the parts where you can tell there was studio interference. It's when the Raimi-isms are not there, right? So as soon as we get into the Raimi-isms, I go, oh, they let him cook here.
Yeah.
They let him cook, and you can see it on the screen.
Yeah.
This is all Raimi here, and then you can see when it's not. You can see when it's like, oh, they forced him to like do this. And
Like what's an example?
I think when maybe not showing as many different universes, and then the universes that they do show is like,
Well, it's like a flip book.
Yeah.
One sequence where they have the him go through all the different universes, right?
Right,
Like the
right.
paint one, the
And it's
the
cool.
cartoon one,
and that
It's
was
really
really
quick.
cool.
Yeah.
It was really cool, and it was almost kind of like getting me excited for no reason, right? Because they get me excited with all these really cool, very different from each other universes, and then we land on a universe that's just like slightly different than ours. Like they go on red and they stop on green. Like, ooh, what a universe! Like, you know what I mean? And again, it didn't like crap on the whole movie to me, but it would just seem kind of like that was not Sam Raimi's choice. I don't think. I think if it was up to him, I think we would have got maybe a few more stops, or maybe longer period stops in a few other dimensions, maybe one or two, you know what I mean?
Well, they had that really interesting one that was post Incursion, where they had the Sinister Strange, where they had that music battle and
That's
everything.
right. That's
and
right.
I really loved that
But that's
you know?
all
I
Raimi
love
right
that.
there.
Exactly. I love that. I really dug the stuff with the Illuminati. I know that's
my
like a part
goodness.
where people got upset because of
Yeah.
that.
But that was fun.
It was fun,
It was a
and
good time.
I thought it fit with this Illuminati.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't think
right.
that was the MCU saying this is the main
Right.
version of these characters and everything.
Right.
Clearly that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
With the future and everything. And the death scenes and everything.
They were amazing.
Yeah,
They were amazing. And not only that, but I think Scarlet Witch was finally scary. Finally.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she wasn't really in WandaVision, you know what I mean? I mean,
in a more nuanced way.
no,
Less
you're right,
of
you're right.
the Sam Raimi.
Yeah,
like,
you're right. You're right.
you know?
You're right. It was more ominous, I think,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
WandaVision.
It was creepy.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
little creepy
Yeah.
because you're like, wait, this whole reality's her mind?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, and it's crazy. But yeah, I don't think they stuck the landing with WandaVision. I think they did an amazing job with the build up. All the episodes were very interesting. I was watching week to week. I was watching you guys do your live on Goat Movie Podcast. That was
getting
awesome.
upset.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I love that.
It
you guys
was
did
fun.
That. It was so cool. But I
Just don't
think,
talk to me about Ralph Boner, bro.
Yeah, but that's
Don't
what I'm
even.
saying. What did they do there at the end? They did
Yeah.
this very amazing job getting all of the fan base to talk week after week, get so excited week after week. What are we gonna see? And then at the end, they just kind of kill it with the generic superhero like battle, and then we don't know what happens with Vision. And
Yeah.
they, is that
Yeah.
ever gonna be told, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
No,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I get you, and I'm very glad that Sam Raimi did bring that level of just craze to the character finally, and
Right.
I was really happy with that, and I think if he comes into Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland, I think that's gonna be a return to form for him.
Yeah,
in many
I think
ways.
so.
Because the reports are that this movie will be a very grounded street level, almost Civil War type of film.
Wow.
With Spider-Man,
Awesome.
bringing the street level heroes together to fight
Oh, yeah.
on certain sides. I don't know who they would be thinking of bringing back.
Yeah.
I'm sure if one of them were Daredevil,
Oh my goodness.
we'd lose our minds.
Don't. Or John Bernthal Punisher.
That's
Stop
what I'm
it.
saying. Like,
Stop
who
it.
do you even who do
Stop
you
it.
think of when it comes to the street level?
Punisher and Daredevil, without a doubt.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, Daredevil's probably one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Yeah.
I mean ever. I'm not even just saying like superhero shows. Daredevil's probably one of the best shows ever, and we only have 3 seasons of
Yeah.
it. It's nothing,
Yeah.
And my favorite season, of course, is 2 with Punisher.
Oh, yeah.
That is just so insane. John Bernthal as Punisher, I think, is what kind of elevated Daredevil. That we got was amazing in season 1. I just thought season 2 was just next level. I knew that they could even hit more grand slams. I just didn't think that they were gonna blow up the whole stadium like that. You know what I mean? Like they just really came with it that season. So I thought it was fantastic. If they bring those guys, like you said, we'd lose our minds.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind bringing back Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter. I thought she was fantastic as Jessica Jones. I think that show's underrated. You know, with Purple Man, I thought that was fantastic. If you read any of those comics, like Alias with oh my goodness, fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And and that's all Jessica Jones right there, And so
Luke Cage and Iron Fist, I would really want to see.
I want to see because I think they can do better. With the same guys. I don't even have an issue. I just think they could do better. I think they just try to poop out a show rather than just be like, hey, we have these characters. If we take our time, we can do what we did with Daredevil. We have the actors to do it. We have the stories to do it.
Yeah.
But I think they just like, hey, let's get on the hype because we have to get to Defenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they just did it very fast, And
I think they did with Iron Fist.
Yeah.
I really liked Luke Cage. The first season I thought they got the tone and everything, the vibe really well.
Yeah.
And a lot of, I think we need a character like Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Because there's because I feel that in terms of like representing and diversity and everything that Marvel's trying to do,
stop switching characters and just use characters like Luke Cage
and
that
Luke
you
Cage
have.
was about that.
Yeah,
that
right.
was his whole thing was black empowerment and everything, and that's what the whole show was vibing on, and it dealt with Black Lives Matter and everything. And if a character like that was brought back, Mike Coulter, and they brought back Finn Jones as Iron Fist,
let's go.
And they gave them the right material and everything, gave Iron Fist his costume at some, come on,
that
dude.
would have been nuts.
Come on.
I think the fighting should have been better choreographed for Iron Fist.
Yeah.
And then, especially because it's Iron Fist.
Yeah.
But, at this point, I wouldn't even want to see a Luke Cage show or an Iron Fist show. Let's just do Heroes for Hire.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can do
Heroes
that
for Hire. That's it.
If you don't even feel comfortable doing a show of Heroes for Hire, a special presentation.
Yeah. Oh,
would be
that
great.
would be sick.
Like look what they did with Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And just show, just at least set up that we know what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
So like you could set up the Heroes for Hire like little academy that they have. You know what I mean? And that they do jobs for hire and all that stuff. And make a fantastic special presentation, and then just leave us knowing that they're doing that on the street level, right? So, and you always have them in your back pocket. So if you're gonna do a Spider-Man like this, we already know. You don't have to like do this intro in the movie or nothing. Like we know, the fans know who they are. They can be introduced very quickly in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
but
if
we
they
already
want to know
have
more,
this.
their
Watch
shows.
the show. Watch the show.
Exactly.
And don't make it so that you have to necessarily watch a show, but like you said, a special presentation of Heroes for Hire. You get an hour just showing like, hey, this is what they're up to now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we just know that's going on.
They could have started.
Okay. Just leave it alone.
They could have started the business during the blip.
That's right. There you go.
You need heroes then. Like we're on we're limited supply.
Right.
And that's the best time to start business.
Why not?
We're pitching Heroes for Hire.
Exactly. No.
And it's not happening.
Yeah. No. And you could even have like certain appearances with Jessica Jones or Hellcat or whatever. You know what I mean?
I know that I think they're introducing White Tiger into Daredevil.
Oh wow.
Kate Bishop. I would imagine Kate Bishop will be in, if they're doing a street level Civil War
Right,
for
right.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 4. I would imagine someone like her could fit in there. Echo. Before we talk about the movie in question, I did want to announce something because these videos come out every 2 weeks and everything. The next video that's going to come out is going to come out obviously on May 4th.
Okay.
A very special day for
all of us,
for us
right?
Star Wars fans and everything.
Of course.
And I want to announce specifically, you're going to get 2 special videos that day.
Hey.
You're going to get the regularly scheduled podcast about a movie dealing with space and battles in space.
I'm excited.
And you're also going to get a special edition of our something Daniel and I have worked on.
Okay.
Star Wars Lightspeed.
Oh my goodness.
And there's going to be artwork for it.
Wow.
There's going to be different music for it. Music. I'm hoping that this channel does not get destroyed.
Yeah, or a strike for it.
A strike.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll happen. So get excited.
If anything, drop it on Twitter too. Twitter. I think they have you can do longer form and they don't. I think they're a little looser. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe.
We'll see. If
Right.
if the channel's gone, you'll know it.
Yeah. Right.
When I'm listening to the fucking music like this and getting a ride from one of my bitches, I always make sure to subscribe to Bumbling Cinema. Why? Because that motherfucker Julius preaches. And when I mean preaches, he preaches. So why don't you do yourself a fucking favor and go subscribe to this motherfucker, alright? Subscribe. Or I'm gonna see you real soon. Real soon.
Congratulations, Mr. Surah. You're making history.
Am I?
Well, aside from engineering publications, I haven't done many interviews.
So, Gordon Locust. Futurist and inventor. Creator of the hyperdrive engine.
That is true. Guess some people aren't as interested in the inventor as they are in his invention.
Where did it all start for you?
Where I started. Excuse me.
What do you have?
I'm looking for someone. Skipper?
You're looking for Port. He's over there at his booth.
Mr. Port?
Gordon Locust. Heard through the Jogan Vine that you were looking for discreet transport. If you're willing to erase yourself from Charter's database, you did something to them.
They're after me because I made something. Something that they want. And I said no.
You must have made something real special, kid.
Look at this.
Reza Malkish, lower tier bounty hunter.
Unlike you, Port, I just caught the biggest score in the room.
How do you fellas feel about that? 175k all to Reza?
You think my boys will turn on me? Now, boys, we can make a deal.
Get him!
Mr. Locust, you are struggling and afraid. Your guilt has forced you to run. There is no escaping me.
All I've done for this past year is run from everything. I'm here now. We both are.
Look, be honest. You told me it would be fast. How fast are we talking?
Are you nervous?
There's a difference between naming it Lightspeed and actually going that fast.
We do have seatbelts. All right. let's talk about the movie of the hour.
The movie of the hour.
It is a very influential film. I've talked about plenty of movies so far on this little series, and we haven't talked about a Marvel movie yet.
Oh, wow.
The movie, I know, and we got to start with the one.
Marvel movie, yeah.
You know,
Right.
there were many before it,
That's right.
and many more after it.
That's right.
But this is an influential one.
Influential.
Like I said earlier in this podcast, earlier this week, it was screened as part of a new screening thing they're doing.
And it was fantastic.
Oh, did you go?
Yeah, and the crowds were just
Yeah?
fantastic. It was like being there all over again.
Okay, all right.
Same-
Well, then
same thing.
I can't wait to ask you about
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
it is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man from
Okay.
2002
Yeah.
with Tobey Maguire and what's her name? Kirsten
Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst.
Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin,
So-
James Franco and everything.
Hey.
This is a movie of my childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's lasted the test of time. Many would argue, I would probably argue, that it's aged very well.
Very well.
I love this film.
Yeah.
I love this damn movie. This
Yeah.
movie is
It's great.
is everything to me.
Who am I? You sure you want to know? If somebody told you I was just your average, ordinary guy, not a care in the world, somebody lied.
So you often talk about when you were a child, when you were a kid, and you were growing up and you were reading comics and everything. And,
Yeah.
And obviously the environment of comic book movies was very different.
Yeah,
You know,
vastly different.
You know, vastly. You
Yeah.
had Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
You had Captain America
That's right.
from the 90s.
That's
Punisher.
Yeah.
What Generation X?
I was gonna say you can't forget Generation X or Fantastic Four that came out. There
Doctor
was
Strange.
Doctor Strange as well. There were 2 Spider-Man movies before.
Yeah.
There was Spider-Man and then Spider-Man Strikes Back or Returns or something like that.
Yeah.
And
It might have been Strikes Back.
yeah,
They were trying
and-
to get on that Star Wars.
Yeah, and that was a combination of like I think they were gonna start a show from the first movie. They were gonna expand into a show. Didn't work out, so they cut the show into what the sequel was, and it wasn't.
Oh,
It
wow.
wasn't. Yeah,
Really?
it wasn't that good. I mean, but again, for us, we just seeing like our heroes on the big screen.
Yeah.
We didn't care. That's why Captain America, although it's ridiculously silly, the villain is Italian. It's like not even like the real Red Skull. It's whack. But it's like I watched that on repeat because it's still Cap beating people up, and he has the original suit, like the white ears on the, you know what I mean?
The
wings.
rubber ears.
Yeah, the rubber
on the,
ears.
on the mask.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was all about it, man. And the action scenes were crazy. The stakes of the world were on the line. Punisher Dolph Lundgren, again, just seeing the skull on this dude's face as he's dumping clips into people. Like, I don't know. I thought that was the sickest. And yeah,
the
like you
Incredible
said,
Hulk also.
we had Incredible Hulk,
Yeah.
which was awesome. And yeah, Generation X, I remember that being so bad, but being so excited because it first aired on TV. So I remember being at home, making sure I was at home when we were watching with popcorn and everything, and we were all excited, like it was like a movie at home, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But I was excited because I knew the characters that were on the screen. I was like, this is Generation X. Oh my
Who was
goodness.
it, by the way? Because it's not the X-Men, right?
No,
just
it's
different-
Generation X. So it's like the kids. And the
like
way
the
they tried
New
to
Mutants, or
kind of like what the New Mutants would be.
Uh-huh.
But they had like Mondo, and they had
okay.
Emma Frost was like the
Emma Frost was, really?
yeah.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure she was like the Professor X.
Oh,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
okay.
So they try to do a version of that, how they do adaptations,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so yeah, they had some of the characters that were from Generation X, I remember, and what was the other one? Phoenix fan. I forgot her name, but there was a bunch of obscure little like teenage mutants that they had. You know what I
okay.
mean? And so yeah, there was I don't know. It was all we had, and we loved it. And when Spider-Man came out, I think it was after Blade, right? So Blade came out. Blade was insane.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
that was
it's like
amazing.
the first one of those movies during that period of time where they're throwing darts and everything, and that really hit
the bullseye.
And then you get X-Men.
Yes.
And then Spider-Man finally comes out.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's right. You got X-Men, and then you have Stan Lee doing the cameo. I think was first in X-Men.
Yeah.
And then the second one was in Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Well, his like I guess the first of the new kind of when Stan Lee cameos became a thing was X-Men, but I remember he was in the trial for the Incredible Hulk.
That's right, he was in that.
He's one of the jurors.
Oh, he was in that. You're right.
Yeah,
he was in that. Oh my goodness, you're right. No, yeah, you're right. He was in that. I do remember that.
Because that's when he still had like some black hair.
Yeah, that's
and everything.
true. Yeah, he still had some hair.
And he's like doing he's like leaping and stuff.
I remember that. But that's what I'm trying to say is like when those movies came out, we knew these were the movies that I was going to go with my friends or the comic book shops, the card shops, the conventions, and this is what we're going to have to talk about. So it's like we really had no say as a fan base. Like now we have a lot of power, you know, like we can demand things. I mean, look at Sonic the Hedgehog, right? They released a poster even.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the hell? Yeah. You know, and we complained and complained and they changed it, right? So we have a lot of power. We vote with our dollars, you know? And I think that's how, you know, I hope that the MCU returns to form with something like Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But when Spider-Man came out, I think it was the first movie opening weekend to make over $100 million. The first movie in all history of movies. Wow. Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire is the first one to make over $100 million opening freaking weekend.
That's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
I mean, especially for like a character. I mean, that's obviously everyone wants to see that character.
Right.
A character like that.
Right.
How is that going to be adapted for the live action? Because you have a pretty out there costume for one thing. Would you immediately forget because the costume is so great?
It's great.
But you know, conceptually, a costume like that is pretty ridiculous, and his power is pretty silly. Also, of like you know, doing the swinging and everything all over the place, and it works obviously in a comic book, and you know, you can get these great designs of him doing his thing in New York and everything, but really, how is that gonna look? And instantly he becomes an icon, a film icon.
Instantly.
Like the story, his origin is very accessible to I think everybody. I mean,
relatable.
Everyone on some level can relate to this guy's plight. You know, of being, you know, unpopular and having trouble talking to a girl and everything, and wanting to be something that he isn't.
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
even Blade. Blade was a dope, badass, vampire guy.
Yeah.
Like, who relates to that? Like, no one relates to that. Like, it was really cool, but no one's walking around like that. So it's like, unless you're like that dude from Grandma's Boy. Oh, they can see me?
I was about to say, there are plenty of like hipsters who dress like that.
Right.
I hunt vampires.
Yeah, right. No, there's the niche, you know, the niche group, but
the neckbeards is what we call
right. But no one was really relating to that until, you know, Spider-Man. I mean, even Wesley Snipes is still an action star, you know. Toby is finally we get the iconic Spider-Man, and he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's not Rambo, he's not Bruce Lee, he's not Wesley Snipes. Like, he's not this dude, like, muscled out dude. He's this kid that's trying to figure it out. Yeah. And I think that was really cool, and that's kind of like what added to it being more iconic, that it was so relatable, I think. I mean, obviously the character is, but like you said, they were just kind of throwing darts at the, and I think they nailed it with that, with Toby's performance and everything. So
he's really charming, and he's got a lot of wit to him, and but he plays it very subtly. Yeah, because it which makes sense, because he's like he is the nerdy shy kid who lives next to the girl that he's in love with and everything, and he's breaking out of his shell.
Of course,
you know. But what's interesting, we were talking about Tom Holland and how they really focused on the high school part of his life which makes sense for the trilogy and everything.
Right.
They kind of not brush it to the side in this movie, but they have a lot to get to, you know. So they go through the high school stuff really quickly. The college stuff he's in, he's just starting, and then there's his Peter Parker young adult life where he's trying to get his apartment in the city and everything. He's getting a job at the paper and stuff, and he is slowly turning into the Peter Parker of, say, that 90s Spider-Man show.
Yeah,
that came
he
out.
looks exactly. He's like has that kind of like
that vibe,
essence,
right? Yeah,
he has that essence, and it's crazy because I think it's Toby that pulls it off.
Yeah,
and that's why Toby is who Toby is. But it has to, like, we can't do this without saying that it's Toby that executes it. Because if you think about it, the people that were up in the running for on the short list for Peter Parker were Joe Manganiello, who was, I mean, he played Flash Thompson.
Yeah.
And I heard that he actually did really well.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
He did really well, and they wanted to go with him, but like even he himself, like not just the producers and the casting directors, but he himself, like they were just like, dude, I'm too ripped for, like I'm too big.
I'm too big.
Yeah, I'm too big. It doesn't work.
He was almost too big for Flash Thompson.
Almost, yeah.
You know, because like he looks 30 in those scenes.
Yeah, he looks like a 40-year-old. Like, what are you doing here, bro? Like, why are you gonna toss around these kids? What are you
You're
doing in a
Deathstroke,
school?
dude.
Yeah, you're
what are you doing
Deathstroke.
here?
You were already Deathstroke back then. Stop it. But yeah, he almost looks too big for that part.
Wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Yeah, right. and then James Franco was also in the running for for
that worked
Peter
out
Parker.
for the best.
I know. Tell me about it.
I mean, it's good that he just...
What a call, right? Like, what a call.
That's interesting. I think Franco back then, I'm trying to put him in that context.
Of course.
I think he's too much of a pretty boy for Peter Parker. You know?
Think so?
Yeah, like they were kind of playing that up in this film, I think, a little bit. I mean, they juxtaposed his natural good looks with his kind of his ineptness.
Yeah.
Like everyone's kind of looking down on him, except for Peter.
Yeah.
You know, but like Mary Jane's just with him to be with him. Willem Dafoe looks at him as kind of like an embarrassment almost. So yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know about the James Franco.
I think James also embodied the victimhood of his character very well. You know, so I think it all worked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
William Dafoe was great.
Yeah. We're gonna have a special segment.
Right. Of course. And I think the movie, although it's not one of my complaints. Again, complaint is not really the right word for it, but it was the over-the-top performances.
You're changing. I know I went through exactly the same thing at your age.
No, not exactly.
Although I might have, if I was the director, I might have gone something a little bit more grounded.
Yeah.
It being self-aware of itself almost made the movie
what
it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sells the movie since it is it's really... It's kind of a miracle that the movie was made the way it was.
Yeah, right.
Because if it was like a really... the way Batman Begins was very grounded and stuff, it would have been a little hard to take seriously.
Right.
You know,
right.
especially... And I think it has a lot to do with that costume. You know, I think it's lit properly in this film. Everything's really bright and
Goblin's costume.
Goblin's costume is another thing. You know?
Yeah.
But with what they originally had planned for that costume, with the animatronic mask and everything, where it looked more like the comics, that would have just been. I think that just would have been a bit more traumatic than anything than what they ended up with.
Right. I think so too.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But scary as hell, because I was when I was young, I was really scared of this movie. Actually.
Oh, really? No
yeah,
way.
just because of for one thing, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. He's really scary in this film.
I mean, he pulls it off.
Yeah.
He does it well. And we saw even more of that in No Way Home, which was insane.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Well, you know, let's talk about Willem Dafoe in the film, because Willem Dafoe is obviously one of these actors that has kind of transcended now. Like now he's gotten kind of this weird resurgence. He's always been around, but I think ever since people started to really analyze and look at his portrayal of the Green Goblin, and for him to come back in No Way Home, he's just an entity now.
Yeah.
In movies, does that make sense? Like, he's just like over. He's not a person anymore.
No,
almost, right?
Yeah, he's almost like. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not weird seeing him. Even if you didn't know he's in a movie, when you see him, you're like, that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. Because his range is insanely amazing too. I mean, you know, you have like the Lighthouse, and you have like Boondock Saints, you have like all these, you know, Green Goblin. It's crazy. His performances are immaculate, man. They're really crazy. Yeah. And he really knows how to like capture a role, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, him in that scene in this film where it's the building's on fire, you know, and,
oh my goodness.
and he's like doing that, he's pretending to be a woman, and
wow.
that's pretty scary still. Like that's almost like out of a A24 film, you know?
No, it is.
The way that just felt, you know? But yeah, no, Willem Dafoe, I wouldn't, thinking about Norman Osborn's character as depicted in the comics, I wouldn't imagine Willem Dafoe in that role. I would imagine someone who's more built and stocky, you know what I mean? Like, because that's kind of what the character's represented as a lot of the time. He's represented as like this guy with the crazy hair and everything, and he's got like the cement jawline and everything. He's depicted as this imposing figure. But I really love that they went more just methodical with casting Dafoe in this role, you know? Like, made him like an actual goblin in this, you know? What is he one of the best, if not the best, Marvel villain we've seen on screen?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And I'm gonna say just movies for now because there's obviously all these shows like D'Onofrio's Kingpin and everything, but let's just stick to movies.
Okay, just movies, yeah. Because I was about to say Kingpin's.
Yeah.
Kingpin is first one that comes to mind. He was a bad guy, but Doc Ock was amazing.
Oh yeah.
He was great.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Is he the best? Now I'm trying to think.
Like, cause we got, I'll break it down, cause we got like Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, we have Josh Brolin as Thanos, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, who else do we have?
Josh Brolin was amazing.
Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull.
That was amazing too. Yeah. That was so good.
Yeah,
that was really good actually. It just sucks we only got him in one movie. And I guess before that, if we go movie for movie, I think Dafoe's up there. He's the best. Like, I'm trying to think, because even Brolin, I liked Brolin as Thanos, right? But I don't know, why do I feel like we got more with Dafoe? Do you know what I mean? Like, more of the whoa moments. Like, Thanos was good and we just know he was good. Like, Josh Brolin was good, but for some reason Dafoe is just, like you said, he has that like that oomph that comes with nostalgia. I think you know what I mean.
I think it's part. I think a big part of it is nostalgia, but also it's legit because we see him come back in No Way Home
and shows us this wasn't wasn't just because you were a kid.
Exactly.
I can do it again.
I can do it, and I'll keep doing it.
And I'll keep doing it.
I think what makes Norman Osborn such a compelling villain in this film is, for one thing, he's sadistic, he's murderous, he's crazy and everything, but he's also a victim.
Yeah.
You know, like he's victim to the Goblin persona.
Yeah.
And I've always found that duality between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin interesting, just visually.
Yeah.
Like what it means metaphorically, having a spider go up against a monster, like something that's perceived as a monster, a spider, like we hate spiders.
Its monster is
versus an actual monster, right?
Goblin,
like, a goblin, right? Yeah. That's really interesting. And I think Dafoe is just great in the role.
Yeah, I think so too.
He can do vulnerable and terrifying.
True.
And he goes through the spectrum.
Yeah, and
so
never loses his humanity throughout the role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he always kind of keeps that like, I'm just a person. Like these like my plans are going along with my human desires, kind of thing. Like to protect, to kind of like create more, to to be greedy, to be more powerful, you know, like, but I don't know, maybe that's why it comes off more sinister, because you're like, man, this is like just a dude, and you see him progressively get more insane. Like you see the insane, and that's always the craziest thing than to just see, like, I mean, obviously Darth Vader, he's one of my favorite characters also of all time.
Right.
And right when he's on screen, he's the bad guy. And there's a certain like power to that where you can play that up, right? And Darth Vader definitely has it. So I'm not using it as a bad example. I'm just saying it's a different example to be Defoe, where you see him gradually get to that sinister, like, I am now the Goblin, I embody the Goblin.
Yeah.
That's almost it's almost crazier, right?
Yeah.
You see the spiraling, you see
Yeah.
the dementia kick in, you
Yeah.
see all that stuff, and that's kind of freaky, you know?
Yeah, like I've always been split on his motivation in the film because or like his whole I guess his motivation of like just wanting to be more powerful and everything.
Right.
I always beforehand thought of it as one note almost, because it is kind of one note where it's like I'm evil and I want to. But the thing is this personality is the manifestation of those dark thoughts that people have.
Exactly.
You know, it is as pure evil as it gets,
Yeah.
which everybody has at least a shred.
And that's why it's freaky.
Yeah.
That's why it's
Yeah.
freaky, because we see that, we see almost like how you said, like we've all had bad thoughts.
Yeah.
And we see that like Defoe shows us that we're not too far away from that.
Yeah.
There's a thin veil in between what Spider-Man is and what Defoe is. And that's why we love Spider-Man, because Spider-Man could easily join Goblin. He could easily, it's just a choice.
Yeah.
He can just say, all right, yeah, you're right. I'll do stuff with you. Because remember, he asks him, he's like, hey, why are we even fighting?
Yeah.
Why don't we just like make the city in the image that we want? We can do that. We're as powerful as we want. We can do that. Who can stand up to us? And I was like, dang, like, so there's that temptation, right? That it's just a choice away to be bad, right?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man shows us that you have a responsibility when you have power to make the right choice. It's not even a choice. It's not even really necessarily a choice. The choice is made.
Yeah.
You have a choice between good or bad. The choice is always good. And that's what like Peter Parker shows us, and Toby kind of carries, and then Defoe shows the nuance in between that, even though his performance is very like, you know, crazy, and he really goes for the Saturday morning cartoon. He still is able, again, like I said, like even though it's very Saturday morning cartoon, there's still never a loss of the humanity in between that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of makes it more, you feel the sadistic vibe to Goblin.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I love that. And I mean the it's not a choice, because the guilt that Peter would have by not taking on the responsibility is he couldn't live with it.
Yeah.
You know, so you can you can choose, like in Spider-Man 2, you can either choose to do it or not, but it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, right,
You know, so
right.
it's not really a choice,
Yeah.
you know. But let's talk about kind of the campiness of this first
Of
film.
course.
I mean, all the movies have that,
Of course.
I think, but this one, they lay it on really thick.
They do.
And I think, for me, that's fine. And I know for you, that's fine also.
Yeah,
but,
right.
I think they do it just, I mentioned it earlier, to sell you into the reality of the film.
This is where we're at.
Yeah, this is where we're at, and we
yeah.
can get progressively darker as it goes, you know. I really love that they lean in, and they make this felt like almost it could be set in the Evil Dead universe.
Almost,
you know?
right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, I mean, it's a Raimi film. I wouldn't doubt if it is. You know
Yeah,
what
I know,
I mean?
right?
Like if in his notes he's like, yeah, this is going on. You know what I mean?
Bruce Campbell wasn't Mysterio.
Yeah, right.
He was Ash.
Yeah, he was Ash.
He was Ash the whole time.
It's in the notes. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I wouldn't, like you said, the campiness kind of like follows the trend of all the Raimi movies. You know what I mean? And Raimi just has a certain way about his campiness where, even if I, like, again, like I was already in high school when that movie came out. I was a junior. It was 2002, I believe, Spider-Man came out. And so it was campy, but somehow Raimi pulls it off, right? Like, he can be campy, and it is what it is. It's campy, but we're all sold into we're here for a superhero movie.
Yeah.
When we're watching Evil Dead, it's campy, but we're all sold into being scared, and it is terrifying. And it is freaky. So it's like, even though he goes campy, he's still somehow able to pull off what the objective of the movie is, right? To either scare you or to like make you have the hope that's wrapped around a superhero movie and all these things. And I'm always along for the ride. Raimi is one of my favorite directors. I love him.
Yeah.
So I'm always strapped in for the roller coaster that is a Raimi movie. and I'm down with it. So
yeah, well, this movie has a lot of heart to it,
right?
Especially since it deals with the beginning of romance for Peter,
of course,
right? Like, because in the comics, especially in the early comics, Peter was getting with all sorts of chicks and everything before Mary Jane was even. Before even knew Mary Jane,
right.
And the cool thing about this movie is that
Mary Jane gets a turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Now she's going out with a bunch of dudes
by
in the movie.
Everyone,
every character except Defoe. Who does she get with? Everyone. Even Defoe? No, maybe not Defoe, but everyone else. She's with all of them.
This isn't J. Michael Straczynski.
Oh my goodness.
Where Gwen Stacy slept with Norman Osborn. Which is real.
Yeah.
Which is real. But so what I like that they pull it back and they actually do bring that grounded quality to those two characters specifically. Yeah. Where Mary Jane's not like a supermodel like she is in the comics. She's literally the girl next door. She is popular and everything, and she has a bunch of boyfriends and everything.
That was just so funny. It's like you're trying to say everything except avoiding saying the word hoe. Like,
okay, Daniel, you win. You win. She's a whore. Shit.
Jeez, whoa.
Let's go for
whoa, bro.
I was just told, excuse me, that my horrible whore wife has tricked me into raising two bastards for 30 years, and I'm being asked to not make a scene. Oh, excuse me. Oh, did you bang my wife? Huh? Did you bang my whore wife? Does anybody here have any illegitimate children with my whore wife that I should know about?
All right, all this feminism crap.
Because think about it,
it's woke, Daniel. It's woke. Is that what you want me to say?
No, it's realistic, bro. It's real.
That's real. That's because
it's
women are like this. It's so real. Wow.
Catch us on Fresh and Fit next week. No, but no joke. This is facts, right? This is none of the Fresh and Fit stuff.
You were looking for a name for your YouTube thing, right? Fresh and Fit 2.
2, yeah. Part 2. Part 2.
Fresh and Thwip.
Yeah. Dude, because she's with the popular guy in the beginning, right? Then she kind of likes freaking James Franco, right?
Well, I think that's more like, I don't think she really likes him. I think that she was just pushy.
Really, yeah, but she almost like wants that. It's almost because she gets like that with Peter too.
Well, the one thing that makes I think kind of explains her whole thing, her history with men in the series. Is her, and they show it in this film.
It should be the Bible, but I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
If this were woke,
yeah.
No, it's that she obviously has a very abusive life at home.
Yeah,
and her dad is very like he's screaming at her in the street and everything, treating her like shit.
So you're saying that's the product of
what?
An abusive father. Usually you get.
I love you said that.
Yeah,
that's the product.
That's the. So then, of course, she's gonna go out.
Wait, let me go in my DMs right now.
Yeah, no.
You get a pass.
Yeah.
You get a pass.
No, because it's crazy. She has like in one movie, she has like 3 boyfriends, not including Spider-Man.
2.5.
2.5, and then no.
But if she's not cheating on them, Daniel, that's the thing.
2 and 2 halves. Because she's kind of dating Spider-Man too.
She kisses Spider-Man.
Yeah, and she's with someone like, dude, come on. I guess I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
If you were Mary Jane,
you know what you're doing. No, if I was Mary Jane, I'd do what I want. But what's crazy is like we gotta call it for what it is. I wouldn't have an issue if you were like, if I was your friend and I was Mary Jane, or even if I'm your friend now and I'm doing the same thing. Have like 3 girlfriends. You go, Daniel, you're kind of a hoe. I'd be like, oh yeah, I think that's true. That's true.
That's more valid in the second movie.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Here she's young.
She's still
make the mistake.
She's still learning.
Yeah, she's still learning.
Still literally gotta.
I mean, when you going down the aisle, that's different.
Yeah, right. Before that, go ahead and cheat on anybody you want.
Okay, wait. Let's just agree before we continue.
Right.
Hoe. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
All right,
Then we
Daniel.
all know what we're talking about.
I'm gonna comment on this video.
Yeah. Hey, guys, just watch the movie and you guys decide for yourself.
Would you date her?
You know?
Would you date her?
I would definitely
Yes.
not.
Oh, sorry.
No, I would. No, I would just be like, dude, didn't you date like half the school already?
You dated one of the teachers.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was Flash Thompson.
Oh
All right.
yeah. No, that's crazy. Yeah, no, that's the one thing. The other thing when it comes to like the campiness, the goblin suit, I
Yeah.
think that
The Power Rangers suit.
Oh my god, I really wish they didn't go that route.
Do you think they fixed it in No Way Home?
A little bit, right?
little
They go
bit?
with like they implied like the tattered clothes and
Yeah.
the, you know what I mean? So I like that.
Mhm.
I definitely like that. You can tell that they were like, let's kind of
Mhm.
do it more right,
Yeah.
closer to right than what we
Yeah.
know. Well, obviously a complete change to purple and green, like
Yeah.
would not make sense.
Yeah.
But I think they did try to make a effort that's noticeable.
Yeah.
And fix that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would have been cool if he like. Oh shoot! It would have been cool if he like painted his face a little bit. I think.
Right,
You know,
right.
like the green color, because I was like, hey, you're almost there.
Yeah, right,
You're almost, or
almost
maybe
there.
maybe the Oz like
Yeah.
is still like building up and making
Yeah.
his face more greenish. And
Yeah,
everything.
right.
That would have been cool. You know?
Yeah, I would have been down with like maybe the mutation kind of kicks in a little bit more, just a tinge. So
Yeah.
like where it's like a natural green or something, but it's like his face is turning more goblinish.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Something
Yeah.
like that.
Oh God.
Man.
I mean the goblin suit at this point in terms of this interpretation has kind of become the look for
Right.
the Green Goblin.
Of course,
You
of
know,
course.
and to the point where like the comic look is almost like it feels like an afterthought almost.
Yeah, it does, and I wish it didn't. 'Cause
Yeah.
I grew up watching the old Spider-Man cartoons and Spider-Man and Friends, and Goblin was always a reoccurring character, and I love that Goblin. Like I love that suit. I love that Goblin. That's why when it came out, when Spider-Man this came out in 2002. And the suit was the reveal.
Yeah.
I was like, what? No, stop. Stop it.
To be fair, it did scare me when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I probably would have been traumatized had they done that animatronic mask and everything.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah.
Where it does look more like the character and everything.
Probably, yeah.
You know, because that footage is really freaky,
Yeah,
man.
it's freaky.
You know,
It's
the
freaky.
the,
You're
the way
right.
that mask is
Yeah.
contorting and everything.
Yeah.
It looks great, but it's freaky.
It's true. It is freaky.
Yeah.
Oh,
But speaking anyway, before we got to this ho talk.
Yeah, right.
I like that the romance is more grounded.
Yeah.
Between Peter and Mary.
True.
You know,
of
like
course.
it feels it's very charming and
Yeah.
everything. Their interactions are really
agree.
authentic, and you know, I it sells you. I think
It does sell you.
It makes
and
you
I'm
root for
it.
Peter and everything.
Yeah, you're rooting for Peter, and you know, and it has that kind of the duality, like the Clark Kent Superman duality, like where Lois Lane doesn't know who she likes more, Clark Kent or Superman.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that with Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Like
Yeah.
who does Mary Jane go with? Who does she like more? Who can she actually have a relationship with? You know what I mean? And Spider-Man kind of having to deal with like, oh dude, like we did in the comics, you know, like when we were reading the comics, like you got a test in third period, but you also got this girl that you're trying to impress and like be a boyfriend to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you also have to save the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, dang, you have to save the world after 3 when you get out of school. And it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that the again, you know, Raimi really punched our ticket to go into that world. You know what I mean? And we're right in there. You know what I mean? So I still think now, I just rewatched it with my daughters, and they loved it.
Yeah.
They thought it was fantastic. They're like, "Oh wow, we love this." They loved part 2 even more.
Oh sure.
We still haven't seen the third one.
Okay.
But we watched 1 and 2, and they loved it. They thought it was fantastic. But yeah, they also were scared with the Goblin. You know, they weren't super terrified. You know, but they were like, man, this guy's a bad guy. I was like, yeah, you know, and they haven't read the comics, so this is like their first version of Green Goblin, you know. So I was happy with it. Again, we were talking about the Silver Surfer, like what iteration should we see first as a big, like, and obviously it's not the first. We have the Rise of Silver Surfer, but like what is the first that like this new generation of people are gonna see, you know what I mean? And so for my girls, I was happy that, Defoe's Green Goblin was their first version of Green Goblin. Yeah. So I'm not complaining about that.
No, for sure. I mean, he's definitely more frightening outside of the mask, which is I really love that about his performance.
Yeah.
One thing that I love that has become, ubiquitous with the character at this point, because it's the essence of the character, obviously, but and especially in the origin, is the implementation of Uncle Ben, and his message at the not at the very end, but in that scene where they're in the car and everything.
Oh yeah.
It lasts forever.
It does, man.
Cliff
really,
Robertson.
Yeah. Really hits.
It really is, and especially with the last thing that Peter says to him, where he's like, "You're not my." He's something along the lines of, "Stop pretending to be my father."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's heavy, man.
That was heavy.
Heavy.
And then
I
to
love it.
kill him after, dude. What? Oh my God.
Uncle Ben's last words to Peter were, "You did this."
Yeah, you did this.
With great power comes great responsibility.
This is my gift.
Wow.
It is my curse.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
Whenever there's a death in this or the threat of that,
Yeah.
it's really impactful. You
Yeah.
really care about the characters and everything. Even
That's
when
true.
even when a character's just threatened, like Aunt May
Yeah.
threatened by the Green Goblin,
Right.
is really just impactful. I mean, it's crazy. Man.
And so even being a fan, I was a junior, right?
Yeah.
And so there's moments when like Kirsten Dunst is gonna die.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, because again, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have any of that, right? So when I'm in the movie theater, I'm a junior, and I'm went to go see it opening day, right? And you see Kirsten Dunst about to die, you're like, because you don't know, are they adapting Gwen Stacy into this? Like, you don't know, are they doing that because they want to, because a lot of times that's what they would do, because the people that would be writing these movies a lot of times weren't lifelong comic book readers. So they would just get snippets of different runs and then just kind of like mash them all into one movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in this Spider-Man movie, like you said, the stakes were there. Like I thought that Mary Jane could die. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, dude, they could kill her because they could do the Gwen Stacy. They could do that right now. They don't have a Gwen Stacy in this universe. So like they kill her, and now Spider-Man's pissed, and he has to ask himself, like, is he gonna be a killer? Is he not? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And again, that would have added more to the veil between good guys and bad guys that we're all kind of like riding that fence. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just want to make sure that when you fall on the right side. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
So
yeah, I love that. I love that you brought that up, because there is that element of danger just associated with the character.
That's right.
Because of like stories like the death of Gwen Stacy or Uncle Ben being dead and everything.
That's right.
All these characters just dying and him having to shoulder that burden.
Right. And still be good.
And everything. And it was kind of bold of them to kind of adapt that.
Yeah, it was.
Into this first film.
I agree.
It makes sense completely why they wouldn't go through with that.
Right.
Because you need, it's like their version of her dying is them not getting together, right? Like that's the tragedy.
Version. Yeah, that's right.
After that moment.
That's right.
Correct. And that's
1000%.
the sacrifice. The sacrifice. At the very end, which was really like a lot of superhero movies don't really end that way.
That's right.
Where the hero has the chance to be happy and moves away from it.
Yeah.
I can't really think of other movies that have an ending quite like that, other than like say, well, no, I was going to say Batman Begins, but he doesn't choose it. Rachel chooses that.
Rachel chooses it, or a death will like end it. Right?
Exactly. So, Spider-Man's the one who's like actively like, I gotta be a hero.
Yeah,
which means you can't be in my life.
What's crazy is that we're talking about the nuances of that theme between like, with great power comes great responsibility, and I think they carry that theme throughout this first movie, which is what we wanted, And it's so funny because I was just talking to a friend the other day, and she was showing me these like quotes from Joker, right?
Oh, okay.
And she was like, And she said, yeah. And she said, I know. And you already know what I'm going to say. But she was showing me these jokes she sent me a reel or something. Was like, oh, here are these quotes from Joker. I agree, and I agree with these quotes. And I was listening to the quotes, and I was like, yeah, I agree with some of them. Like, like if someone, if you get screwed over, like, like, no. What's the one I agree? The one that I agreed with, it was like a handful of like 5 quotes, right? And the one that I agreed with was, it's better to be, slapped with the truth than kissed with a lie. And I was like, yeah, I sure. Generally speaking, I'd rather be told the truth than lied to. Sure, of course. But then it goes on to his other more Joker quotes.
Right.
And I was like, wait, you agree with this? Like,
what do you mean you agree with
yeah,
that?
what do you mean? Yeah, that's like, and one of them, it was basically they were all saying the same thing in different ways, but basically they were saying like, oh, like, show people your bad side and see how long they can take it, and then you'll see if they really like you, and I'm like, no, what? That's horrible. And like another quote was like oh, like, now I'm broken, so I treat you that way, but that's because I was broken first or something. And I'm like, holy shit.
I bet that's the exact quote also.
Yeah,
I was broken, now you're broken.
Now you're broken. Broken, me too, broken.
I want to hear that.
No, but it was one of those reels with the dramatic sound in the back, you know what I mean? Like
the douche.
Yeah, but basically what I was telling her is, again, this is what I tell everyone. I tell people that comics, anime, manga, movies, they all have these little nuanced lessons, and they teach them in a safe way. It's an entertaining way, and you learn these heavy lessons. And one of the things is that I was telling her that it happens in Spider-Man, happens in a lot of the comics that we read, and you'll agree to this, right?
Yeah.
I teach this in the comic book summer school class that I teach. I literally teach a whole lesson on this, and I was telling her, I'm like, look, like, I get the sentiment of what you're doing, and you're probably hurt about something else that you're not talking about, but that's what the theme is I'm getting, is someone hurt you before, and now you're pissed about it, and now you're never going to get hurt again or whatever. And I'm not saying don't be hurt and lower your guard. That's not what I'm saying. But take this, for example, and I told her I teach this to my comic book students. So let me just kind of pose it to you this way. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time, we have a hero and we have a villain, right? And both of them were impacted by something in their childhood, something before they became a hero, something before they became a villain. And usually those things are tragic in any way, emotionally tragic, spiritually tragic, physically tragic. Something tragic happens, something traumatic happens, right? They both of them could have their parents killed. Both of them could have their corporations destroyed and now they're homeless. Both of them could have their family taken away from them, the dog killed. But the difference between a hero and a villain is that the hero says, oh man, this happened to me. I'm never going to allow this to happen to anyone else. And that's what they do. And they don't allow it to necessarily change them or break them. They just now defend the world from their own pain. Versus the villain experiences the pain. His parents are killed. And he says, well, now everyone is going to feel my pain. Everyone is going to feel this.
Yeah.
All of you bastards are going to feel this. And so that's necessarily the difference. And I asked her, I was like, I'm not telling you to be or not be a certain way. Like if you have ideas, they're your beliefs. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Oh, that's the Google.
Oh, okay.
But basically what I was telling her, I was like, just make sure that, I told her, I'm not saying I'm a perfect human. I've made mistakes too, but I'm just saying we're all riding that fence, and you got to, again, like Spider-Man, make sure that you fall on the right side of that fence. Like Superman, you fall on the right side of the fence. You don't want to be quoting the Joker.
No.
And that's what I told her. I was like, you're making a mistake. Yeah. Like if Joker's the one that you're saying that you agree with. And she agreed. She was like, oh, wow, I didn't see it that way. And I'm like, yeah, when you're broken, like let's say a villain broke you, right?
Yeah.
And now you're a villain. The villain wins twice. And she's like, why? I don't understand. I was like, because they broke you the first time, so they've defeated you. And also they're still, you want to act big and bad, but they're still technically living in your head rent-free. Yeah. You're still allowing their misery and their pain that they brought on you to control you, because now you're being a jerk to everyone else. And it's like they're laughing. They already moved on. They're already, like, let's say someone cheats on you, right? They're laughing. They're having a good time. They're not thinking about you. They already moved on. They did the villainous act. They killed your relationship by cheating on you, right? And they moved on. They're already going to the movies with someone else. They're hanging out with someone else. They're laying in bed with someone else. And you're over here like meeting good people, but because you're hurt from that cheating on that they did, you're now closing yourself off to happiness because you have to be a jerk, and now you have to be a jerk to everyone because you got cheated on once. You know what I mean? And so then that person that isn't even thinking about you, you're still allowing them to have rent space in your head, and not only that, but in your life, and it's manifesting, and you're being a villain to yourself. You're killing your own relationships, and they're off having a good time. So it's like they win twice, right? They defeated you once, they cheated on you, they took advantage of your trust, and then now you're hurt, and now you're not having a happy relationship ever again, and you think that not having a relationship ever again is showing them you showed the cheater that, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. And that's what I was telling her. I was like, no, the best revenge is success, and not even thinking about the person. Is going off and being happy and doing whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah. And that can look however you want to look, but make sure that it's not a villainous way. You know what I mean?
Maybe she shouldn't see the new Joker film.
Right, you know what I mean?
Like, you know, my favorite Joker line is, I like cheeseburgers. This is my favorite, most relatable.
There you go.
Joker quote.
Yeah.
French fries.
Yeah. How can you not agree?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, come on.
So he's right about everything.
He's right about everything. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, before we wrap it up on Spider-Man and everything,
of course.
I want to know what this experience was like seeing it in the theater again this past week.
It wasn't as crazy as No Way Home.
Sure.
It wasn't as crazy as Endgame or Infinity War. It wasn't like that. But it was just cool kind of getting a glimpse of the, like, you know, people cheering again. You know, we all knew the parts that were coming. It wasn't like Endgame.
Yeah.
Where we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't like No Way Home when they showed up and we were just like screaming like we're at a rock concert, and there's not a person sitting in the entire theater, right?
Yeah.
It's packed. People are in the aisles jumping, hugging each other, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. And we've all been to those.
Oh, yeah. I've been the guy hugging strangers.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, you just like hug. We did it. Avengers Assemble. Oh my God.
What happened? It's over.
He lifted the hammer. Like, you know,
praise Allah.
Yeah, you know, everyone's like cheering at the same time, you know. It's crazy. But it was reminiscent of that. It felt like an opening night all over again, and it was really, really cool, you know, because it definitely wasn't opening night of the original, you know, like when I first saw it in 2002, that was something else. But it was cool, man. It was cool seeing the people come back with the nostalgia, and, you know, people, you know, get a chance to kind of relive that. So like I always try to see classic movies on showings, like at the Egyptian.
Yeah.
Before in South Pasadena, there was the Rialto that used to show old movies. Because I wasn't born for a lot of the old movies that they show, you know, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, like when they show these movies these Back to the Future and stuff like that. Like I wasn't around for some of these like in the theater moments.
Right.
And so when any like Scarface or when they show these movies, I make sure I go.
Of course.
Because then I want to be able to say that I saw it in the big screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I absolutely. I'm the same with the films like that that I've been lucky enough to see for those screenings are Beetlejuice, Goodfellas, The Matrix.
Let's go.
Oh God.
Let's go.
There's a dude when I went to go see The Matrix who was like actually like. I felt bad for the guy, but I understood where he was coming from. He was like, when Neo's becoming the one and everything, he's like, yeah, but he's like one guy who's like cheering and shit. Yeah, woo!
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I'm with you, man, but you're one guy.
Yeah, you're one guy. I need a crowd. I need a crowd.
I need a crowd, dude.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I'll go with my girls to go see, you know, different ones like Mutant Mayhem or Across the Spider-Verse or whatever. And they laugh all the time. They're going crazy too, but they laugh because, like, you know, they don't know other adults that go crazy for like animated movies like that or like superhero movies. So when they see their dad, like you're so funny, you get up, you scream and stuff, and I'm like, dude, come on, like let's go, you know. So now they're getting
awesome.
It's awesome, and they're like, they laugh, they think it's funny, they get amped too, you know. but not as amped sometimes, I guess, you know. But
That's
it's I really like that they re-released it for the anniversary because again, like for little brothers or like, you know, kids, like I have kids, and you could take them back to these showings and be like, this is how it was on the big screen when your dad saw it, or when your big brother saw it, or whatever, you know, like this is how it was, and you get to kind of relive that. I don't know. I just wish more movies showed old movies like that. You know what I mean? Like Enter the Dragon was the last I had seen it in big screen before several times, like at other showings. But I saw it again recently. Well, not recently. I think it was last year. Last year for the anniversary of Enter the Dragon. And it was so funny. I went with my homie. And I almost feel bad for my homie because I was like losing my mind. Yeah. And the theater was like maybe like 15 people in it. And I was losing my mind. And then even when I wasn't losing my mind, I was verbatim, like saying all the words before they'd say it. So I was probably annoying the hell out of my homie. You know? I mean, he seems like he was down for it. You know, he loves Enter the Dragon too.
Sure.
But
I love Enter
I was
the
just,
Dragon.
Jesus. It's the best. It's the best. God. You know,
I got one coming up.
Okay, cool.
Star Wars: The Phantom Menace.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh my God! Well, Spider-Man 2002. Yeah. Classic. Love it. Can't wait, and I hope we see more of Toby.
Let's do it.
And I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
I know we will.
Re-release the second one and the third one in the theaters.
I'm down. They're doing that, right?
Are they? They better.
I think they are.
They better.
Yeah. Well, they have. I mean, they can't mess up anymore.
It makes sense.
After the whole Madam Web thing.
That was the worst movie, and it almost. It's a. I want to say it's a case study, so like movie buffs should watch it. Yeah. Because it's that bad. Yeah. And I'm not saying. It'll be studied. I'm not saying it's like bad, good, bad. Yeah. It's bad, like interesting bad. It's like, whoa, dude! Like teams of people, hundreds of people sat down and okayed all of this. Yeah. Whoa, dude! That's how I was watching it because I went to the theaters to watch it.
Oh, I know.
And so I was like, dude, what? Like this got past the janitor even? Like who? You know what I mean? Like no one was like, yo, like no one. Dude.
Earl, you saw him walking to the editing room with that USB file and did nothing.
Yeah, you know,
you did nothing.
One intern wasn't like for the good of humanity. Didn't just crush the flash drive, you know, like just stomp on it. No, I'm doing it for everyone.
I like the idea that you mentioned the janitor was like seeing the producers go with their cut of Madam Web. Yeah. Look down to his trash can that he had on him. Yeah. And then the violins started playing. And he's saying, should I rush them? Do I have the responsibility?
just one thing. If you want to and never have, or you're too overwhelmed, or like you're just like, man, I'm never going to make it. I'm never going to be able to make a movie or a story or a superhero character of any sort. That's why you should go watch Madam Web, guys. You should. If you have an idea of anything, any superhero, any hero, any movie idea of any sort of movie, anything, and you're kind of like bummed out from like, I'm never going to make it. Dude, I promise you, watching Madam Web will motivate you like no other.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like I would probably be really, disenchanted from movies.
Deflated?
Yeah, like really like, I guess I should get into coding, but you know, all right. That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. You can do it, man.
That's the Mr. Rogers in you.
Yeah.
You don't look at the fire, you look at the firefighters.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's go. Of course.
All right. Well, Daniel, we talked about Spider-Man. Thank you so much. Is there anywhere that the people can find you?
No. I'm still working on
DVD.
Yeah. I'm still working on rebranding some stuff.
That's fair.
But as soon as all that's out, I'm sure I'll be on another podcast to be able to shout that out. And
Absolutely.
Stuff.
We'll talk about it because we have. We've mentioned it before. We have some plans.
That's right.
Of things to do.
That's right.
And I'll definitely have you on again to talk about it and everything.
I want a way of documenting that journey that we're about to go on. So you know, that's why I want the rebrand to be perfect, and I want to put all that there also. You know, so there's a lot of plans, like you're saying, but
it's gonna be cool.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited, which is always good to have something to be excited for in the future. You know what I mean?
Well, in the future, in terms of documenting this process, it'll make sense that you were on this podcast.
Oh, okay.
In
All right.
terms of
oh,
what we
that's
have
right.
planned.
That's right.
So,
No, it will.
you
Yes,
know.
especially for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that
Yeah.
soon
Yeah.
at some point.
Of course. Of course.
All right, Daniel. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, man.
Guys, thank you so much for listening.
This was so fun.
Have a good one. Stay safe and goodbye.
Peace.